Welcome to this ClimaCab installation demonstration. ClimaCab from Crosspoint Solutions is SmartWay verified, offering the most advanced battery-operated climate control system today. For significant fuel savings, reduction in engine hours, improved driver comforts in the cab, start assist eliminating the need for jump starts, and much more. Crosspoint Solutions is focused on battery-powered APUs. ClimaCab is sold and serviced by a network of dealers across North America. A detailed installation instructions manual is included with the ClimaCab system or can be downloaded online at crosspointsolutionsgroup.com. Consult the installation manual during all phases of installation. This video demonstration is meant as a general overview of the installation process. Follow the safety practices and personal protective equipment guidelines of your installation facility, and be sure to disconnect the truck start batteries before installation of the ClimaCab unit. ClimaCab system components are sold in modules which include the basic system components, battery boxes, and cable kits. Depending on your particular installation, you will need to address battery installation and required cable kits prior to beginning a complete system installation. As you open the ClimaCab packing box, you'll notice the box is imprinted with templates. These templates will be used in the installation of the ClimaCab truck-mounted condenser and the evaporator unit. Use a razor knife to carefully cut out the condenser placement template and evaporator placement template. These templates will be used later on the cab. ClimaCab major components are shipped in the large system kit box. In addition, a separate battery cable and PMM mounting kit is required that contains specific battery cables and PMM mounting bracket, depending on the type of battery installation on your vehicle. This installation features the optional slimline battery box from ClimaCab. Inside the box are all the parts needed to install the ClimaCab system: evaporator with touchscreen and harness, condenser, and power management module. You may also have the optional shore power components or the optional heater package, depending on ClimaCab application needs. Once the ClimaCab components have been unpacked, component placement should be spec'd out, measuring for placement of the power management module or PMM, or optional slimline battery box. PMM should be mounted close to the truck batteries if possible, and as far away as possible from the DPF, exhaust system, and other objects with surface temperatures in excess of 150 degrees Fahrenheit. And determine a suitable location to mount the condenser to the bottom of the truck cab, preferably toward the back of the cab, on the outside of the frame. Be sure the condenser will clear the frame and not hit the fuel tanks or other frame-mounted components when cab suspension is fully collapsed or during full movement. You may choose to begin the installation process by installing the frame gripper to attach the battery box. First, install the upper brackets of the frame gripper, then the lower brackets. Use the 4 flat washers and 1/2-inch lock nuts to secure the bracket to the frame, and a torque wrench to tighten the nuts to the torque specification found in the installation manual. It's important to follow all instructions in the battery box installation manual and use all brackets and reinforcements included with each kit. If needed, you may use the optional Z-bracket spacers to provide clearance to frame fasteners and components. Once the battery box is attached, place the first 2 batteries on the mount and connect the batteries as shown in the installation manual. Use the number codes to match up the connecting cables. Follow the battery connection instructions to connect the PMM to the truck battery, using the length numbers printed on the cables. Next, attach the PMM to battery hold-down bracket. Tighten the bolts to between 10 and 12 foot-pounds. Then place batteries 3 and 4 and attach the PMM and the battery hold-down bracket with PMM installed onto the battery box. The battery hold-down is attached using supplied J-bolts. Tighten the nuts to the J-bolts to the torque specified in the installation manual. Connect the front batteries, and connect the front batteries to the back batteries as shown in the installation manual. Connect the battery cables to the PMM unit and attach to the auxiliary fuse box. Attach the negative connection to the PMM. When connecting the power to the PMM for the first time, make certain that the auxiliary batteries are fully charged and connected first to the PMM. Connecting the PMM to discharged batteries will prevent successful system commissioning. Use the PMM cable boot and corrosion control kit when connecting the truck battery cables to the PMM, and the dielectric grease to prevent corrosion. Remove the PMM to condenser wiring harness from the package. The end with the fuse holders plugs into the PMM unit. Connect the orange 8-pin connector plug into the PMM unit and insert the fuse holders into the waterproof locking covers on the PMM. Secure any protruding cables with wire ties and secure the battery box cover. Another battery box option is a between rails box. Use CrossPoint Solutions battery cable kit designed for this application. In this application, the PMM is frame railed mounted. CrossPoint Solutions also sells a battery cable kit for customer-supplied battery boxes, typically located under the front passenger step. For all battery boxes, use CrossPoint Solutions provided cables to avoid voiding warranty. Determine where the customer would prefer to have the touchscreen installed. This customer wanted it attached to the front of the EVAP unit. Please note that the touchscreen can also be mounted remotely in the cab. This installation also presented some unique challenges with interior trim. This customer requested that the rear storage shelf be modified and the EVAP unit installed as depicted. First, remove the evaporator cover. Turn the evaporator over to reveal the touchscreen harness, and pull the harness through the evaporator to attach the touchscreen to the front of the evaporator, and secure the harness in front with wire ties. Turn the unit back over and secure the hoses together with wire ties so they will fit easily through the hole that will go in the back of the cab wall. Next, attach the mounting bracket for the touchscreen to the front of the evaporator cover, lining up the holes of the mounting bracket in the center of the cover, and attaching the bracket with the bolts provided, and boring a hole through the cover for the wiring. To install the evaporator, all components should be removed from the cab interior. Care should be taken to note location of support brackets in the cab wall. You may be able to determine the location of rear wall structure by looking at the pattern of rivets on the exterior of the cab. Measure twice and cut once. Once proper placement is established, place the evaporator template against the back wall of the cab and drill holes to attach the evaporator, and a larger hole for the refrigeration lines. Refer to the installation manual for proper drill bit sizes. Then feed the refrigeration lines through the larger hole in the cab wall, and feed the heater cable through the smaller hole in the upholstery panel. Make sure the drip tube connection is visible on the outside cab wall. Next, position the evaporator to the cab wall and attach it using the bolts provided. Place the evaporator cover next to the evaporator and pull the touchscreen wire through the evaporator cover. The bunk may need to be lowered somewhat to fit the evaporator cover over the evaporator. Place the air filter onto the evaporator cover and snap the intake grill into place. Then attach the touchscreen wires to the touchscreen and attach the touchscreen to the touchscreen holder. If you have ordered a ClimaCab frame-mounted condenser, it is mounted to the truck frame. Please see the installation manual for frame-mounted condensers included with your unit. To install the ClimaCab truck-mounted condenser, first determine an optimal location. Keep in mind that hose and harness connections should be oriented towards the rear of the truck, and extensions might be needed if the unit is located towards the front of the vehicle. Generally, locating the condenser at the rear of the sleeper outboard of the frame and over the fuel tanks is preferred if cab suspension clearance allows. Often, locating a deck plate mounted condenser between the frame rails above the drive shaft support bearing is an alternative. Position the condenser hole template against the outside of the cab floor in the desired condenser location. Make sure the hole pattern has the condenser refrigeration ports facing the rear of the truck. With a marker pen, mark the location of the holes to be drilled in the truck floor and remove the template. Drill the 8 holes to mount the condenser. Position optional condenser space bars to gain clearance of cross bracing, seatbelt anchors, or other under-cab structures. The condenser bolts are dropped from the inside of the cab with the large washers at the top. The bolts are connected below the cab with the small washers and nylon lock nuts and tightened. Lastly, connect the refrigeration lines and system harnesses. It is now time to make the final connections before commissioning the ClimaCab system. Attach the PMM power cables to the start bank truck batteries, making certain to install the 125 amp fuse and fuse holder in the battery box per the instruction manual. Next, commission your ClimaCab system using the Nanux service tool by following the instructions on the computer screen. First, complete the system configuration process by completing customer vehicle information and alternator output. Next, select the heater type if connecting ClimaCab to a heater. Select Fahrenheit, Celsius temperature scales, and finally apply settings. If you require detailed information about the setting choices, click on the blue question marks. Next, complete the battery configuration process and apply settings. ClimaCab is designed to work with the batteries specified in this pull-down list. If your batteries are not listed, contact CrossPoint Solutions for advice. Next, you will calibrate the heater control. Insert the heater calibration harness into the harness running from the heater to the evaporator. Plug the 2 leads into your ohm meter and follow the prompts on the screen. Enter the values from the multimeter into the corresponding boxes in the heater calibration screen and apply settings. Now it's time to button up the remainder of the installations. Apply silicone to the hole on the outside of the cab where the AC lines run from the evaporator and attach the drain line. Attach the P-clamps to secure the lines to the cab exterior and install the conduit around the lines. The ClimaCab installation can be completed in approximately 8 hours and provides years of fuel savings, money savings, and total cab comfort year after year.